Are you looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this football and basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select two or more players, pick more or less on their projections for a wide variety of stats, and place your entry. It's as easy as that. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $250 with just a few taps. Easy gameplay, quick withdrawals, and injury insurance on your picks are what makes Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Ready to test your skills? Join the PrizePicks community of more than 7 million players who have already signed up. Right now, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/bluewire and use code BLUEWIRE. That's code BLUEWIRE at prizepicks.com/bluewire for a first deposit match of up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pod Mavericks Presents Group Therapy again. Dallas Mavericks lost. You guys know this. We're hanging out on the live show because we want to talk out our feelings. I, at the moment, am a little down, mainly because I'm tired, but, I sort of thought they'd win one, and I don't know. They've won one of these games since we've been doing this. I think they've lost like 8 of 9. It's at a dark point. 132 to 130 is a pretty brutal way to go. An outstanding performance from Kyrie Irving, a pretty good performance from Luka Doncic, at least by his standards. He's really close to recapturing the NBA scoring lead. So I wonder if that's going to be something that the Mavericks, that he goes for in the coming days. So for those of you who are waiting, it's early in the stream here. We're getting more and more people joining. Remember, at the top of the YouTube comments, there is a link which you can click to be taken to a waiting room. In that waiting room, I will call on you, and then you'll be able to come up here and hang out with me and, speak your piece, either yell at me, yell about the Mavericks, talk about your favorite TV show. Heck, I don't care. We're just kind of at the point in the year where I think we should be trying to have a little bit of fun, but the Mavericks keep finding new ways to make it really a kind of a painful thing to lose or experience. So I'm tired, folks. All right, so coming up first, we got Joseph waiting in the waiting room. He's the only one right now. But we'll go with Joseph first, and everybody who is willing to come talk, please do. Thanks for hanging out. I very much appreciate you. Joseph, what's going on tonight?
Hey, Kirk. Long time listener. I think it's my first time here, though.
Hey, welcome.
Hi. Been listening to your podcast for a while. Love it. By the way, I admire that, your show before Josh, you obviously going through a lot of pain, and now you got to relive it since you're doing the stream. I'll be honest with you, man. This might make you sound like a fake fan, but I'm almost done with college, right? So like these past 2 semesters have been like super tough. So I haven't been like that up to date with the Mavs. And like
you're saving yourself pain.
Yeah, I will say so. It's good that I prioritize school, but the 15 games I have watched, man, yeah, it's been a pain. I think I've probably watched 15 games all season, and I think like they're 4-11 the 15 games I've watched. And obviously I agree with a lot of the points you've made in like previous podcasts, but the biggest one, like the biggest thing that you referenced was like, hey, if we were to fire a kid, it doesn't mean that grass will always be greener on the other side. I think that obviously if you're going to hire, a new coach, you got to make sure like, you have like, it's like for sure set in stone,
Mm-hmm.
So that's like one thing I'm worried about. Like, it's like the Lakers, for example. I know they're, obviously winning now, but I'm pretty sure like some Laker fans I know, they said, Vogel is obviously better than Ham. And, when they fired Vogel, they're probably like, oh, Ham, he's going to save the day, stuff like that. And then
the grass is not always greener.
Yeah.
It's really, and the thing about Avery, when they fired Avery, Carlisle was sitting there. He was an ESPN commentator at the time. Everyone knew it was kind of a gap year for him. He had come off a really, really amazing run with Detroit and then Indiana. And the Pacers the first time, everybody forgets this, but the Malice in the Palace basically broke up all that. that Pacers team was incredible. And then Ron Artest went into the stands, and it's, there's nobody like that right now that I see. There's, Nick, Chris in the chat says Nick Nurse, because Nick Nurse made a comment the other day about how he might be taking some time off after the season's over. But the Raptors are in the play-in. They're a play-in team right now. So I don't really know, that just might have been something that was said. It's really frustrating, because I've been thinking about this a while, and it's not just the money, but is there a coach out there that makes you go, oh, okay, that's going to be a guy that Luka stands up, is willing to listen to? Is there a guy that Kyrie Irving is cool with? Kid is apparently one of Kyrie's favorite players from when he was younger, and there's just a lot of things that go into it, and Kid has done a really good job of insulating himself from some of the criticism. I mean, it's bleeding over now because they're 25 and 28 in clutch games, and some of that goes on him. Somebody says Udoka is out there, which, okay, guys, if you want to talk about let's make the Mavericks of what is it? Voltron of just problematic. Let's go draft Brandon Miller, hire Emike Udoka, then have, Kyrie, who has been a good soldier on the team, but he's just a controversy magnet, with Mark Cuban. Just make it preposterous. Yeah. So
also, I just on the last point I want to say is I'm obviously it's just been a pain, but one thing I'm looking forward to is as you mentioned before, is that, hey, this is probably going to be Luka's first real off season since his rookie year. Mm-hmm. And obviously 2020 pandemic bubble, and then coming back in December. And I feel I don't know, this might be a bad take from me, but obviously, after our run, last year, maybe, he was able to get that monkey off his back where it's he hasn't won a playoff series. So maybe, that's coming back next season. Oh, with that, if we do miss the playoffs, hopefully we don't. But at the same time, if we continue to lose, it would be great to get a good pick. But I am interested in I know there a lot of people, a lot of Mavs fans I've been talking to, they aren't optimistic about next season, especially with the assets and all that stuff. But I just wonder, I'm just very excited about how Luka can respond next season.
The point about him getting a real off season, I think, is, I've talked about it a little. I would like to play it up more, because I went and looked at this, and so, for anybody who's wondering, the last time the Mavericks were 5 games under 500 was February of 2021. That was the season you were just referencing, where they had to come in right after the bubble, 2 months. They didn't really know when things were going to start. The Mavericks were 9-14 against Golden State Warriors. That's the last time they're this bad. But Luka's essentially played basketball almost continuously through. When you really look at how much ball he's played between international ball, preseason games, all of it. Somebody did the math for me at one point, and it was almost double what Kawhi Leonard has played over the same amount of time. And it's that, he's a young man, he's a tank, but he still could really who couldn't use a little bit of rest? Yeah, so sure. That's a very good point, Joseph. I appreciate that one.
Anyways, Kirk, thank you for having me.
Sure. Hope you come back at some point.
Oh, for sure. Sure.
All right. Talk soon. For anybody that is worried about showing their mugs, all of you are handsome. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. You should show up on screen here and talk with me if you have the opportunity. I'm going to go to Nico next, because I don't know if Nico's been in here before. Maybe he has been. I'm sometimes pretty bad with names. I see some of my regulars in the chat. Hope you guys all consider coming up and talking. But if you don't want to, maybe it'll be a slower evening tonight. And that's okay with me too, because I've not eaten dinner and it's 9:10. Nico, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, Kirk. My camera's not working, so you're not seeing my mug and my Salesforce sweatshirt. So
love it.
There you go. I think they're kind of quietly tanking without telling anybody that they're tanking. Because if you look at some of the decisions that the players made and the coaches made right before the end of the Miami game and right before the end of the Atlanta game, it's are we really trying to win, or are we just not trying to lose too openly?
I understand why you say that, but then again, Kid has played these ridiculous lineups all year. And if that's the case, has he been tanking all year? I mean, I think he would make the argument that he has been trying to figure stuff out to where they could get to the playoffs, but over the course of that, they've lost the thread and they're not going to make the playoffs. I mean, they're not mathematically eliminated right now, but if they backed into the playoffs, am with 3 games remaining, I'm to the point to saying that would be a catastrophe.
I would agree with that.
Because you would miss the play, like you'd probably be 10th or 11th, and the Mavericks can't win multiple games in a row. They go look at the win-loss record. They just can't do it. And then they would also lose the pick. So what is the point?
Which is why I was watching the game today, and I'm like, are we missing those foul shots on purpose?
I mean, I feel bad for Wood in that regard because Wood's just had a tough year, and it's. But that into regulation, Josh walked me through it, and I since watched a video of it. I felt like the refs were trying to hand the Mavs a win, and the Mavs wouldn't take it.
Which is part of why I'm saying what I'm saying is like there's so many close games that we just lost, right? For like an error here or missed free throw there, or it seemed like to me it almost like conspiracy hat put on right now, like tinfoil everywhere, right? To me it almost seemed like they're trying to make offense work, but they're deliberately not really playing super hard on defense. And when it's like, oh, we might win. Then we kind of freeze and don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if that was the plan all year. I very much doubt it that it was the plan all year.
But... Oh no, because I mean they just this team building doesn't make sense. That's right. Kind of what I keep coming back to. But then we do get moments of levity like this one, and I'm going to switch the screen here and put this up on the screen and I'm going to read this to everybody in the room. JaVale McGee was with a gem of a postseason quote. In hindsight, that's what movies are made of, not playing the whole season. Then coming down to you hitting those 2 free throws for the win. Unfortunately, I missed one of them and it went into overtime. Yeah, that movie's going straight to DVD. It's not coming out. I've been incredibly hard on JaVale McGee because I don't think he's very good, because he's not very good. Incredible quote. Really enjoyed that one.
Agreed. All right, Kirk, have a good one.
All right, talk soon.
Somebody else speak.
Bye. All right, appreciate it. Man, we got a lot of people waiting now. All right, coming up next then is my guy Brandon. Again, folks, if I would appreciate it if you're able to show your face, but if you can't, I understand that. Brandon, what's up?
Not much, Kirk. My camera is kind of crappy. Hopefully, I get a new webcam and show my mug on screen.
It will work on your phone. Dalton Trigg joined the other day with his phone and was just holding it in front of him like this. It was great. Like, I don't care if it's broke. Like, I've had some people shoot me messages were like, hey, you need to get a better camera and better lighting. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I started this on Tuesday. Today's Saturday. Give me a break. So what's going on today?
Not much, man. It was a weird game. It was a very weird game. And I was listening to you talk to Josh earlier, and man, it seemed like Hardy made a lot of mistakes, a lot of turnovers, and he missed some key plays, and I think that's kind of why Kidd, kind of yanked him. But as for why he kept the rotation in essentially since the third quarter, I was kind of thinking that, I mean, just rotating players haven't worked none this season, and so if something's working, kind of stick with it. Mm-hmm. They had the 10-point lead and it kind of dwindled down to 5 points, and then it became like a 2-point lead and like a back and forth. And so I would have to believe that Kidd was kind of like, let's just keep going with what we know. Let's not put Reggie in to, miss shots or so on and so forth. Let's just kind of stick to what we do. So it seemed like that would have been it seemed like that's more of a Rick Carlisle move where you play to the team's strengths and not really just like rotate players in because they get a lot of time. Rick was good at that. Several games where just games in a row where he wouldn't start the same players. It would always be a different rotation because he played on people's strengths, and it seemed like that's kind of where Kidd went tonight. And to his credit, it pretty much worked. So.
Well, they tried
kind of late in the season, figuring things out. Yeah.
I mean, at least they were trying different things.
Yeah, they did try something new.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, and
sorry, I keep reaching down, guys. My
like,
my wife is out tonight, and I am having a problem with my audio. So yeah, keep going though. I'll get it worked out. But that's why I'm like ducking in and out of the screen. I apologize.
I know it's all good, but yeah, man, it just seems like I don't know. To me, it just seems like if Luka is leaving, and I hope he's not, but just in a hypothetical situation, it seems like if he is leaving, the clock is kind of ticking, because if you think about it, the turnaround, wouldn't happen next year, maybe the year after that, but then in 2 years, if the Mavs don't get it together, where's Luka going to be at? So I'm kind of like. Under the mindset of let's look at the actual leadership instead of the players to see who's really getting something out of these guys. Kind of like you said earlier, Mike Brown, he's a motivator, and he's very proud, and with his proud mentality and his way of bringing the best out of players, he got something out of Sacramento. He got something out of a lot of his players before, which people rarely do or haven't done in Sacramento for a while. So. I'm kind of like, if it doesn't start with the organization, then, you can't really expect the players, to really, I guess, change what's going on in Dallas, because, I mean, they have talent. It's just not gelling.
Yeah.
And a lot of tonight was the issues of I don't know. It just seemed like Kid wasn't getting a lot of those guys to understand the importance of closing out on defense, not to stand up under the goal, and to actually try to jump. Because a lot of rebounds, they just got out hustled. They got out jumped during rebounds. They got out hustled on defense, and it just seems like Kid has to make emphasis of telling those guys to get out there and move your feet, even if you're not at defense. You got to get out there and do something, because being stagnant under the rim isn't working. So. Yeah, it seems like it would start with leadership, and if it doesn't start there, then I don't see anything
I think you're right. I think you're right on the accountability front, and that's been something that seems to have been lacking the whole year. Well, thank you, Brandon. You got anything else for us?
No, that's it, man.
All right, we'll talk soon. Appreciate you coming up. Mm-hmm. Brandon and I always have like a fun 2-second audio delay. So the other thing that I keep looking at is on my monitor. I see I'm by myself tonight. My wife is at the Taylor Swift concert at wherever it's being held here in Dallas. I see my son sleepwalking around his room. So if you guys will give me 30 seconds to go guide his butt back into bed, while you're waiting on me to do this, if you could go smash that like button for the active screen, I would really appreciate it. Go hit that subscribe button if you're interested. I apologize for it's just the worst live streaming thing ever, but I will be back in just a few minutes because his room is about 15 foot down the hall. So give me just a second.
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. One of the things I love about Indeed is it makes hiring all in one place so easy and streamlined so I can spend more time on the rest of my business. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
And we're back. That was fun. Okay, coming up next is David, who has been patiently waiting and actually has his video turned on, of which I'm grateful for. David, what's up, my man?
Hey, first time on. Thanks.
Well, I'm glad you joined us. So, what are we thinking tonight?
Oh man, one of the things I'm thinking about is like this 10th pick that we're not probably going to get.
No, we're going to get it.
I hope so, but I think we're actually going to do the most Maverick thing possible and end up in the play-in.
You still think that? Okay.
The Thunder could lose out, which is completely possible looking at their record, and then we could fall into a victory with the Bulls and the Spurs, right?
The Spurs is very likely. The Bulls, I think, will actually try to beat us.
Yeah, but if we play like we played today, I think we could beat them. That's just personal. Yeah, I mean,
they shot 26% from three and almost won.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking about. The other thing I'm thinking about is like what happens this offseason, and like thinking about free agents. Who's out there, because there's not a lot of big men out there that could improve our front court. So like how do we, how do we look at that situation? Because we have the number 1 and number 2 best players and against almost anybody we play.
Sure.
But after that, it just turns into who knows, right? So my goal would be at least like making sure Kyrie comes back, because even you can see today, just amazing, phenomenal. It takes a lot of pressure off of Luka, and then trying to pick up someone like a Jacob Poeltl.
Dirty work guy, grabs boards, does stuff. Yeah.
And then I have someone that I think everyone would hate, but a Dylan Brooks is someone that we could probably pick up that plays a lot of defense and would probably give a lot of attitude to our team and like probably put the right type of mentality. We'd love to hear what you think.
I mean, I'm really glad I don't have to root for Dylan Brooks like as an individual, but I get why you would say that, because they need dirty work dudes. And that's when you lose Dorian Finney-Smith, when Reggie Bullock dies, there's been no one left. Josh Green, I think, could become that garbage man kind of guy. But as we've seen with him, he's still young and he's still learning to play. And I think the relative amount of pressure that's put on him isn't necessarily fair to his talent level, but they just need some more dogs. I hate that euphemism, but they need guys that are motherfuckers. Like it can't just be Luka. Like that was the thing that killed me in the Dirk years, back when David West put his hand on Dirk's face. There was not a single Maverick that stood up for Dirk. Let him grab Dirk by the fucking cheeks, and nobody did anything. And they need somebody like that. That's where when we had James Johnson, I was like, yes, we're getting the crazy guy. Only problem was he was very, very bad at basketball.
Yeah.
So I get why you'd say that though about Brooks. So
that's all I really had was just looking at our lineup, adding in like 1 or 2 of those guys just to kind of bring in that type of physicality toward there. And if we, if we're able to keep that 10th pick, hopefully, because that's what I'm rooting for. I'm hoping we, not hoping that we lose, but I'm hoping that we keep that pick, just because more than likely that's probably where it's gonna be. Like someone like a Grady Dick, who played at Kansas, just lockdown shooter, plays a lot of.
I like Grady Dick. He would be an old, like he's such a, like his name, his looks. He looks like one of these dudes from Highland Park I wanted to fight when I was in high school.
Yeah.
Like I'm all for that. Just like punchable face. That's why when I thought when we were at one point, the Mavericks had a chance to draft the guy who is now on the Jazz, but the Wolves traded him out. Shoot, what's his name? The Auburn center. The big goofy white guy. And it didn't happen. And I was like, him and Luka would have made, just really like a couple of guys that everyone wants to fight. So that'd be fun.
Cool.
Kessler. Thank you, Bobby. God, my brain is just broken.
Oh, Walker Kessler would be great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's all I got.
All right. Appreciate you. I hope you come back.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think it's important. I had a question where it's like, hey, how do I get notified of this sort of thing? And Harmon in the chat was kind enough to say, okay, once you click the bell button on the subscribed button as well, you will then get notifications for this channel. I have been sort of instructed that I need to go live and not post videos if I can avoid it. And that's what Josh and I will do. We won't necessarily bring people up unless it's a special occasion, but I'll be hosting these regularly. Coming up next is Jonathan, who hopped in and out. Jonathan, second straight night. Thanks so much for hanging out. What's up?
No problem. You can hear me, right?
I can. You sound good.
Okay. Is it bad that I still think this team, I don't know, I'm having like second thoughts. Like it feels like this team is good, but I know it's hard to think that, but we lost so many close games. Like
28 of them, in fact.
We
Clutch
easily
time
could be
games.
like the third seed if like one or two things goes our way, if you think about it. But I don't know. I know, but the main thing that we need to do is get the 10th pick right now.
Right.
And I feel like the Mavs are going to beat the Spurs, and somehow, some way, they're going to beat the Bulls, and then we're going to be like the 11th pick, or even if we get the 10th like pick, we're going to drop down one spot in the lottery, knowing our odds.
Yeah. I mean, it's happened so many times in history. The Mavericks, to me, there's a song that I used to listen to quite a lot in high school. It's a song by The Offspring called Self-Esteem. And if you go look up the lyrics to the song, it's basically about a guy that is in a awful relationship with a woman that treats him like shit. But he keeps coming back for more. And that is how I feel about the Mavericks, where I will tune in regardless because I cannot help myself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm stuck. I watched every single game this year, and I've seen some bad moments, a lot of bad moments, but you know, that's what we do as fans. We just keep watching.
This is I'm choosing to tell myself this is a little bit of like hero's journey stuff, where after the Mavericks get a little bit ahead, I'd been worried after last year they were going to come back down to earth, and they have in such a way that I couldn't have really predicted. And now we just kind of have to hope that they figure this out and put something together, because if they lose the pick and then they also don't make the playoffs, or like they lose the first game of the play-in, they're at the worst possible situation at that point. And then I think we need to have earnest discussions about whether the Mavericks should like just blow it the hell up and send Luka on. Like
there's also dark. Like a chance that we could miss the play-in and miss the pick by like beating the Bulls.
Wouldn't that be incredible?
But yeah. And JaVale McGee played tonight, I guess.
He did 23 straight minutes. Probably, I bet that would be one of the longest straight playing streaks of his career. He has asthma. The man cannot play in long bursts.
Yeah, but I felt like as soon as he got into the game, like the game changed. If you could like feel that.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, he played pretty good tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the Twitter coaches calling for JaVale McGee the whole time. We finally got our answer, and you know, he played well. But it took Kid like a few games. I don't know. I don't got much anything else to say, really.
Oh, I'm glad you came in here. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. We will talk soon. Okay. Coming up next is, I see him on, looks like he's playing video games. I'm very jealous of him if he is playing video games, because that is something that I would like to do. And don't want to butcher my man's name. So, Tamim, what's up?
Hello, Kirk. How are you?
I'm great. Where are you calling in from?
Saudi Arabia.
Hell yes. Sorry. I just love it when people call in from around the world. Just technology is awesome. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm a little bit happy because Mavericks lost the game.
It's okay. It's okay. I can't. If I openly root for losses, I'm going to get crushed. But it's logically the best. The best path forward is for them to keep their pick.
Yeah, I was, before the start of the season, I was just imagining what if the Mavericks get a top 7-5 pick, what they will do with it. So when the season started, I just began to believe in this team, that they will make a trade and this team will be better. But now I'm just, I think is what they will do if they won the lottery, or if they got in a spot where they don't like the players are available there. So one of my thoughts that what if just there is a world that the Mavericks will win the lottery, right?
Yeah, it's a low percentage,
So-
but it's not impossible.
Yeah, I know. I just keep trying to get in Tankathon and here and in 2K also.
Tankathon is bad. Like the Mavs radio guy, Chuck Cooperstein, discovered Tankathon, and he's like, "This is bad for my health. I cannot be here. I spent
It's-
15 minutes clicking it."
Yeah, it's like a drugs. And when finally you won the lottery, like you literally won the lottery.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I've been thinking, what if the Mavs really won the lottery, and what they will do with the pick?
So if they were in the top 4, I think they use it because there's guys in that top 4 that are play right now guys. If they stay at 10, I think they move it for a player, but I don't know who.
Yeah, I know there is players like Jarius Walker or Brandon Miller.
I would love Jarius Walker.
Yeah, but there is actually you cannot depend on a rookie to compete.
You can't, but if Hardy's sort of given me that idea to where if you can play a guy 20 minutes a game with Luka and with Kyrie, that gives them the cushion to fail. Josh, so I don't know how old you are, but in 2003, the Mavericks drafted.
No, I am 21 and
Okay.
I started following NBA like the J.R. Smith game. So
Pretty good game to start following. So for context, why I say this, in Dirk Nowitzki's 4th year, I think 2003, they drafted a guy named Josh Howard, and then they got a rookie guy that wasn't drafted named Marquise Daniels. Both of these guys played huge minutes for a team that had a chance at the title. And I'm not like the only reason they didn't make it that far is because Dirk hurt his ankle. But good enough players find their ways onto the court. And when you have a supporting cast that can boost them up, I really think it could be possible for one of these rookies to actually play minutes with a Mavericks playoff team.
Yeah, I know, but that is the problem. The supporting cast is so bad, so bad. Like I was watching the Hornets games, and I was like, beside Luka and Kyrie, no other Mavs are better than the Hornets players. So I was like, this needs 3 or 4 years to recover from, because you have bad contracts and it's just a poor roster construction. Yeah. So I was like, man, if they won the lottery, I really, really, really would shop the number 1 pick on the maybe Brooklyn Nets, call them. And
see, everybody that says that I think is drunk, because Wembanyama looks like I made the comment on the show we did earlier that I think he's a deep fake. I don't think he's real. Some of the stuff that he does, I'm going to go find this and we're just going to watch it again together. And I want you to tell me that you would trade this guy, because this is one of the silliest things I've seen. God dang it!
They put back down.
Yes, we're gonna watch it. We're gonna watch it together.
Yeah,
everybody, just it's so amazing. So let me just. I'm gonna
watching.
I've never seen anything like
15 straight minutes, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is just not."
All right, possible. So here it is. We're gonna do it again, and I'm gonna laugh during it. And boom. I will be watching. I'll watch that another 100 times before the night is done. So I understand what you mean, though. You want the Mavs to be good now, not tomorrow.
Not just me, but is Luka okay with taking Wembanyama and waiting 3 or 4 years to build the right team around him? And
I think it's a fair question. So, that's a very good question.
I think if they won the lottery, they will seriously consider moving it for maybe 3 or 4
assets, players, something.
Like Mikal Bridges, Nicholas Claxton, and some picks.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you joined us. You got anything else for us?
Nope. Thank you
All
for
right.
having me.
Well, I appreciate you listening. Hope you come back. All right.
Inshallah.
All right. Okay, so in the chat, someone asked, as Wagner asks, what are the chances Wemby stays healthy? The man is fantastic, but his body doesn't make sense. I tend to agree. Body doesn't make sense. I will say that there seems to be a real emphasis on things that we haven't really considered with the player of his size before. So like Yao Ming, when he came over, he was so incredibly weak. Like Shaq was just mean to him. And the Rockets did a very good job keeping him healthy insofar as they could. But the Chinese basketball national team basically made him play. He played for 4 straight years as a 7'6", 300-pound guy. And then he just started to break down. Wemby, I don't know if he's going to stay healthy, but I would be nuts. I just think he'd be nuts to pass on him, because I think even if he gets hurt and you need to move on him, like there's people just like Kristaps Porzingis, you just play him long. Like he is so much more flexible than Kristaps Porzingis. And I mean that in a literal sense. Porzingis was like a straight line athlete. He could not move side to side. Wemby can, step back jumpers for 7'5" guys preposterous. Okay. Coming up next is Ewan. How we doing, guy?
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, you don't got a shusher. Bring her on the show too.
That's my son.
Now, what's going on?
I'm good, man. My wife is saying that you should help pay rent since you're always in my house.
I'm sorry. It's his fault though, not mine.
Oh man, but yeah, this game was just more so of like, what I've said all year in regards to like Powell starting. Is like you're always gonna put yourself in a hole where Powell started. It's like, and then you look at all the lineups that kid has gone through with everyone that he changed, Bullock, Hardaway, Green, but for some reason Powell position just seemed to be secured out of like he's the third best player in the starting lineup, but his spot is like always secured. So that was my thought on that. But me watching the game in that third quarter, I was like, you know what, this is the nail in the coffin. It's over. And then they got me excited. And I'm like, don't do this to me, man. It's blood pressure. This team is giving you high blood pressure.
That's how I felt like during the 2000s. Like every single Dirk game, it's like I'm mad about something. That's what tonight was.
Yeah, and like in regards to like Luka playing defense, I think part of it goes to him knowing who he has behind him. Because with Powell and Reggie being a layup line all year, it's kind of like some of his effort is like he's not gonna play the best, the best effort on defense because the guys in the back line anyways is not gonna rebound the ball. They're not gonna do anything, so he pretty much have to cover it all. And once McGee checked in and Wood checked in, he kind of had that sense of urgency, like, okay, I got those guys behind me, so I could try a little bit more harder,
Yeah.
So yeah, that kind of got him going a little bit, but it just. I don't know what you thought of the last play, like that last play with Trae Young getting fired.
I did think it was a foul. I also think the play they drew up for Luka wasn't very good. But when there's anything under like 3 seconds left, it's hard for me to be too critical because you just hope to get a shot off.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and Kyrie was going towards the back, so he couldn't really pass it to Kyrie on that last play. So.
And getting a smaller guy the ball on something like that, you're just going to blanket him anyhow. It was tough.
Yeah, McGee did good though. He did.
I wonder if he's going to be on the injury report for like asthma related things because he just like
and like going forward is like we have 3 games left. Jake kid, like if Powell is in the starting lineup, the next game is going to be like, all right, it's officially that we're tanking. Like
so we get 2 days off to play the Kings, and the Kings just lost to the Spurs. Though the Kings will probably be playing the Rockets, I think next. Like I'm wondering if we're either going to get a Kings team that's going to whip our ass or they'll be just like bored.
Yeah, it's like. These teams are not trying to put us out of our misery because I was kind of hoping like, they win, so it's better for us to like, all right, we finally accepted our fate, like it's over. Yep. But they keep losing. It's like, and I'm glued to the TV still. Like maybe there's a way, maybe somehow, some way, because other teams keep losing. So that's kind of, this.
They're not mathematically eliminated. I don't think they're going to be eliminated from the play-in until the last game of the season.
Yeah, that's what makes this even more crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Just.
Because didn't who let me see here. I'm checking the scores. I'd clicked away from the
OKC lost and Minnesota lost tonight.
At least like when OKC loses to the Suns, you're not like, oh, okay, this is terrible. The Suns are good. Like Shea had 39. My God.
Yeah. And there's a play in the game too when Trae Young in the overtime when he laid it up and they call a goaltender McGee. Like the ball hit the backboard already. And
That was not a goaltend.
Yeah, he missed the shot and he just grabbed the rebound and the refs. Like you should be able to go back and kind of like, edit a goaltending if you made an incorrect call. That should be something that's
you can challenge it. Kid just doesn't. He wants to save it. And I understand why, because he used it later and actually in a way that made sense.
Yeah, that was tough. And lastly, it's like in the overtime, like the first 2 minutes, like I just felt we settled for threes too much in those first few minutes. It's like, Kyrie was getting whatever he wanted in the paint. Luka was, doing his thing. And we just settled a little bit too much. And hopefully what Kid did tonight is what we've been preaching for him to do all year. Like these guys are out there running 30 minutes, giving you no kind of production. Reggie Bullock had 32 minutes the other game when he had 8 points. Not this one, the game before that. So it's like, if you see that's going on, like get somebody in there that, like JaVale McGee may not be the best player, but he cares. You know what I'm saying? He cares, So you need more of that, like the last guy was saying in regards to leadership, you need more of those guys on the court.
Yeah.
And lastly is like the last 5 was pretty much not the 5 that we're used to. Kyrie's new, McGee's new, Wood is new. We didn't see Timmy out there doing crazy stuff on the fast break. We didn't see Reggie out there bricking shots. So it was kind of refreshing to see that 5 on the court. Not the same 5 that we've been seeing for the last 3-4 years. So that was good to see. But I don't know what's going to happen, man. Like I want the pick, but I want us to make the play.
Sure. So if you're watching all this garbage, you want it to mean something.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Well, we'll see. I'm gonna be glued to the TV regardless, but I just don't want to be stuck in the middle. It's either we make the play and we're good, and if we don't, then we keep the picks. I don't want to be just stuck in the middle. And once it's over, I just want to see how long it's gonna take for the ball to start rolling on our team. If we're gonna make some front office decisions and not resign certain people, I just want to see that get going. So
I understand that.
We'll see.
Well, tell your wife I'm sorry and thank you for joining us once again.
Yeah, I'll send you my cash app so you can send me something.
That'd be good. All right. Coming up next is Jacob. Jacob, how we doing?
Hey, Kirk, can you hear me? It's the first time in here.
I can hear you. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Sweet. I'm doing all right. Well, I just got back from the Ranger game. I hope I'm not too late to the party or
talk about whatever you want. The Mavs loss sucked. How'd the Rangers do? I didn't pay attention today.
Well, we swept the Phillies. So I myself am glad to have both the Rangers and the Stars right now. I'm very thankful for them, especially with the Mavs taking a dump on the floor each time they take the court.
Yep.
So I don't know how y'all continue to do it. More power to y'all to continue to watch these games. But I couldn't do it to myself anymore. It's not good for my mental health. So that's where I'm at with that. But I'm glad I'm at the point where I'm glad we're losing because organic tanking is greater than put in whatever you want there. And if the NBA really cares about fairness, they will. I think they should reward us with this ethical tanking with a top 4 pick. I mean, I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but we're not making up any injuries. We're not screwing up the national TV schedule. It's just 15 guys showing up every night and, honest to God, sucking.
Yep.
So I'm glad we're doing that. And I think that's all. We had like an 80% chance to actually keep our pick now, so that's good. So really where I'm at is the only thing that's pissing me off is, and I know I shouldn't care. I don't know why I'm letting it not bother me, but like I'm just wasting my time thinking about it, is people on Twitter are creating the narrative that, who's the problem in Dallas? Well, any genuine person like us, we're the fans that actually watch. We all know it's Kid and Cuban.
It's more than Kid. It's Cuban. It's the whole damn thing. It's the thought process. It's like
right.
you look for a finger to point, and it's like, oh, what's the consistent in all of this? Always, it is the mindset. It is the whole thing from the top down. Kid is emblematic of a problem, but he's not the problem. It's an institutional one.
No, right, yeah. But for some reason, and it's kind of funny how it seems to be Tatum and Booker Suns fans and some even Hawks fans, even though if they were honest with themselves, they'd realize they're in the same boat as us. I mean, they got rid of their head coach, but yeah, it seems to be Luka's fault. It seems to Boston fans, especially, it seems to be Kyrie's fault. Like, that's just a smooth brain take, man. We sucked before Kyrie even got here. And I mean, can people I just want people to be honest with themselves, be in good faith. How can you look at Dwight Powell coming down with 1 rebound tonight?
Sure.
Like, it's a crayon eating take to me that it's somehow our 2 best players' fault. Everything around them sucks. Like, that's where we're at. And so, like, again, I don't know why I'm thinking about it, but it's for somehow that's apparently becoming the narrative.
Well, so the key thing that I always say, and like this happens a lot, like it drives me nuts that the Mavericks of an organization reference Twitter. Twitter is an amazing place. I love it. It's hilarious. It's weird, but it is way over indexed on specific topics. It can be upstream from culture in a real way where it sets the agenda. But I think with some of the things that we talk about game to game, there's too many games. So people get really hung up on stuff where it's like I showed in the show that Josh Bowe and I did, I showed a play from the Miami Heat game where Luka just gets lost. And it's basically been the play du jour that people talked about on Twitter all day today. And it's like, well, that happens to Tim Hardaway, 2 times a quarter. Like, what are we doing? So I really try to tell people, do not over index tweets, specific conversations, whatever, because it's just not impactful. The Mavericks are bad. That the national media has picked up on Kidd and company being a real problem, I think is fascinating because you're seeing players that knew Kidd or revere Kidd like Perkins and Jay Williams and some of these guys turning on the Mavericks so quick. I thought it would have taken the rest of the year. I really did. And I think that's pretty interesting to me as far as like what narratives get pushed. Because really, I mean, the NBA is like a narrative driven league, much more than facts. It's why people, you watch a game like tonight and it's like, oh, God, I love Kyrie Irving when he does this. Kyrie Irving's a 31-year-old basketball player that's 6'3" and is a wizard, but hoping and expecting him to do that 82 times a year is not realistic. It's not fair to him on expectations wise either. And instead, like people build up the narrative that, oh, Kyrie's this amazing hooper that shows up night in and night out and does amazing stuff. The man plays his ass off, but he's not physically capable of doing some of the stuff that a team needs him to night in and night out. That's why he's an ideal second player. Anyways, I went on a bit of a rant there about Kyrie, but I think overall, I think we get a little too focused on things that don't matter is where I'm going with that.
No, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. And Twitter's definitely a prisoner of the moment. So I know what these people, like, they really don't know what they're talking about. You can't tell me that they watch us night in and night out.
No, of course not. And I don't watch their teams either. I don't lie about that. You can always tell people say they watch ball all the time. Half of them are lying. There's too much ball to watch.
Yeah, but it's like, did you not see Luka just drag us to 3 wins to the finals last? Well, not drag. Obviously, Jalen Brunson had a lot to do with it. But like, if you flip Luka and Jason Tatum, ain't no way in hell we get that close to the finals last year.
Yep.
So, I mean, miss me with all that. I hate it for Luka because it seems like he's taking on this, like, a bit of a LeBron arc where it's early in his career. People are already finding any and every reason to hate on him. I mean, it's not like Luka left and, made it a national TV thing, but they're so nitpicky, like, oh, he doesn't play defense. Well, I mean, so none of a lot of other stars don't, whatever. So, and I get why Boston fans still hate on Kyrie, but I mean, you're wearing blinders if you think he's actually the problem. So
no, he's not at all. No, the Mavericks are the problem. Somebody said that in the chat earlier, and I think that's the best take. So
yeah.
Well, thanks for hanging out, man. You got anything else?
Nope. I think that's it. I think that about covers it. Hopefully this season ends with us moving up the tank standings.
We'll see. All right. Talk soon, Jacob.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Coming up next is my man, John Thornton, who is sitting there looking like he's ready to join an official podcast. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hey, man. Dude, So it was awesome when you brought up Josh Howard and the guy.
That's
said,
how old we are, for the record.
I do not know who that is.
You don't know who Josh Howard is?
He didn't know. I mean, I know who it is.
Yeah, the kid. Yeah, the 21-year-old.
The kid didn't know who Josh Howard. Like, that was unbelievable.
No,
I was like, I remember
soul.
being at the Texas Roadhouse in Waco, Texas, when we drafted Josh Howard and freaking out because he was the ACC Player of the Year.
He fell because he smoked weed. Ooh.
yeah. So that's one of the things I'm trying to figure out. Like, so we have watched the Mavericks for our whole lives. Do you remember a season that felt like this?
2016 felt like this to me. I still remember when they signed. I deleted all my tweets before 2018, just when I really started getting into this. But I spent from July 2nd to July 7th. I spent all 4th of July rage tweeting about signing Harrison Barnes because I had
you did. I remember this.
During the Warriors finals, I got drunk and wrote the free agency preview for Harrison Barnes and was like, do not sign this huge loser. He is terrible. He's killing the Warriors because he's why they lost that series on a player point of view.
Yeah.
He missed so many open shots, and then we signed him. So that one's the only one for me, though. That just might be me.
Yeah, well, but even then it was like the lack of direction, the lack of one of the things I was thinking about, as I was listening to everybody, the Mavs replaced Donnie Nelson and Carlisle had major flaws, obviously. But they also won a lot of games. They built winning teams, and Carlisle is a proven winning coach in the NBA. And they replaced those guys with Nico Harrison, who worked at Nike, and Jason Kidd, who is not a good coach, has not proven himself to be a good coach and I don't know that I've ever felt about the Mavericks that they were directionless. I felt like there were times where they tried to go in a direction and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Tried to sign guys, tried the plan powder, we're going to sign Dwight Howard. We're going to do there was at least a plan, and I don't know what the plan is.
There's not one. Because it came off the wheels in a big way because you lose Brunson and you tell everybody they're going to be fine. And Brunson is a borderline all NBA player this year. Yeah. You cannot, I'm trying to think of a political comparison. There were no weapons of mass destruction, it turns out. That's what this feels like a level of gaslighting that was just we're going to be fine. We're all going to be amazing. And we're not. And no, the entire process was flawed. And because my favorite thing, and granted, I'm punching up, so please don't I have no beef. Bob Sturm is great. He's a Dallas area legend, but he was trying to make the case right after they traded for Kyrie, where he's like, well, you couldn't have done this trade if Brunson was on the team. And it was yes, you could have. You would have traded Brunson instead of if that's what you wanted to do.
Just straight, and you could have done it straight up and kept Dorian.
Yes, and then and so I'm just and granted, since then he's completely kind of come around and been all right, Kid might have to go after this, but it's just. We don't have to play this game that the Mavericks are the smartest people in the room. We have 10 years of evidence to prove otherwise. It's fine.
Yeah.
Being an NBA team is hard. Somebody in the chat asked what I think about the CBA rules. And honestly, I can't bring myself to read into it because I don't think the Mavericks have the smarts to figure it out. In 2011, they told all of us guys, particularly you youths, you have to understand this. They broke up a title team with the thought of, we know this CBA better than everybody else, and you're going to be shocked. They didn't know the CBA very well.
They were going to zig. They were going to zig while everybody zagged.
Yeah, I found
just they did not.
By pure happenstance, I found a 2013 article by our since passed away friend Jonathan Charks, who wrote that the CBA actually neutered the Mavericks' ability to be good at free agency and anything else because Cuban simply just spent more money. Mavericks are all time one of the they're the seventh most. They've paid the seventh most in taxes for going over the cap, and they did this all before the 2011 CBA. They've only done it once since. And it's just, the Mavericks are not they were not geniuses. They spent more, but that's a strength. I mean, I hate some of the CBA stuff because it's like you have to become an accountant with a background in wizardry and also partially a bit of a lawyer. And it's like, I don't follow sports for this shit. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think that 2011 team was one of the most expensive ever. Because like Sean Marion was a huge, relative to what you could spend at the time.
They were way more expensive than the Miami Heat, and we had this there's this like great tag where it's like the Mavs are built, not bought. It's like no, they were bought. They were very well bought over like 10 years of Cuban just spending more and more money. I loved it. Big fan.
That's my favorite team ever. And I think when I think back, like in a kind of historical perspective, it feels like with Brunson I think they found the jet for like everyone's comparing it is like, oh, is it, historical comparison. Jet was so crucial to the Mavericks' success over the Dirk era because he was so perfectly complementary to Dirk. He was clutch. He knew what he was doing. I one time was like did a dive on like the Mavs clutch games over that like a 5-6 like from 2006 to it was and I mean and you watch the games.
They broke the math. That's how good they were in clutch time.
Yeah. And you would watch the games and you knew it. It would be close. It would be within 6-7 points and you knew Jet and Dirk are going to pick and roll this team to death and one of them is going to hit a jump shot. Like that is how it's going to go down. Is it going to be enough to win? You don't know, but they're going to be right there and I feel like with Brunson, they let the perfect complement to Luka go. Like they let whatever that was go, and they're gonna have to figure it out. But I don't know how you do it. I mean, and it's top to bottom. The idea that like Christian Wood would replace Brunson in any meaningful sense is hilarious. I think Christian Wood would be awesome if they'd kept Brunson. I've never felt like this about a Mavs team where, and I want to say I loved Josh's piece a week or two ago about like there has never been a team that has had a guy as good as Luka that has been this bad.
Yep,
and that is not Luka's fault.
Remarkable feat in team building.
It is unbelievable.
I mean, I've been like captain of the Mavs. What are you doing? And even I'm in awe of how bad this is historically. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, when I started reading about where KD, LeBron, because like you remember those LeBron Cavs teams were so bad. Like the guys around him were shuffling guys in and out, and that may be part of the problem is the Mavs haven't shuffled anybody in and out really.
Oh, I mean, they built their 2019 team with the pitch of making Giannis a free, like they were going to pitch Giannis when he would hit free agency. And it was stupid at the time. Okay. Josh Bowe and I freaked out about this. This is still on your feed. It's even stupider now where it's just like, why? Why did you think that was a thing?
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Bucks are going and getting Holiday and Middleton. Like they're actually building a team. Around the guy. And like I want this team to make sense. I want them to be enjoyable to watch because Luka is so fun. I mean, I called in after that the best game I've ever seen Luka play. Like it was unbelievable. He is so good and it sucks. It sucks to watch them suck in a way that sucks to watch. Like it's not even just like they're trying to do something and they can't do it. I don't know what they're trying to do.
Well, if you listen to our recap show, like Josh doesn't do exasperated very often. He sounds like a broken man. So
yeah. No, I mean, you both are tend to be, on the more negative side of the Mavs fandom and, but very realistically so. And I mean, it's not like you're in the same way that locked on guys tend to be more positive.
No, but even Nick and Isaac are like, yeah, that's
what is favorite. This? What are we watching? I don't understand. That's what I want to. What are they doing? What are we watching? And it just sucks. Tank it out. Go get somebody in the draft and try to build around. I mean, and this is where it sucks. you can see where they could build Luka, Kyrie, Hardy, Josh Green, a draft pick, go sign a good defender.
Sure.
And you've like got it.
I'm sorry, like Luka is your baseline for 40 games for wins.
Yeah.
They're not going to hit 40 wins this year, which is fucking remarkable, but that's your general baseline is 40 wins with Luka.
Yeah. Yeah, you could see where it would not be hard to put something together and get I don't know. Yeah, the question about the coach, get a coach that has coached and has won. Jason Kidd has not coached and won. That's it.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah. All right, man. I appreciate it. I love the transition to all the new stuff. It seems like it's going great.
Us old heads that don't use this crap are going to get dragged into I'm going to make everybody do it. It's like, I don't use YouTube. I'm bad.
Dude, I DM'd you last night. I was like, I don't understand how to get on this.
I have in my personal YouTube, I have a bunch of like saved videos from when I was in college, like stuff that I liked. And it's like the Numa fat guy doing the just like shit like that. And like, no, I just apparently didn't use and like cool. Back when Nike made awesome commercials, I have a bunch of those saved.
The street ball commercial. There was
one with the guy who he was the white captain. He wasn't a captain. He was like a major in The Wire. He voices this minute-long Nike commercial that I watch whenever I'm having a bad day. And it's I'll send it to you. It's dope. Like it's one of those.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
All right, man. Let's talk soon.
I love it. Yeah, sounds good.
Later. I just punted John a bit earlier. Okay, we got one more caller. Partha, you there? Welcome to the show.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
I can.
Can y'all hear me? Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
First, I just want to say I'm a huge fan of the YouTube stuff. I think it's a lot easier to find you in general, as opposed to the Spotify Green Room, which always felt just like a little bit of a third step, you know? So I appreciate that you're on YouTube. And as far as the season, man, sorry about the cough. This is not what Dr. Naismith intended for this beautiful game. Like, the watchability level.
That's the name of the season. This was not what Dr. Naismith intended for this beautiful game.
Man, literally.
Holy shit.
There's no reason for a team with now two players who are as good as they are to be this just truly unwatchable. Like, Houston Rockets level shit, man. Like, it's awful. And I mean, the thing is like, I feel like we can all point and say, like, if we had like an NBA caliber center, like like 60% of our holes would be filled, you know, but it's still more than that. Like, Reggie Bullock is not a power forward in this league, nor is he really a starting player in this league. Like, there's just this roster construction top to bottom, the money management. Like, we just gave Maxey $30 million, man. Before we had to, you know? Like what are we doing here? So as far as like the outlook of the offseason, summer, I'm just praying to God we keep our pick, praying that we maybe move up, you know? Like, with the Tankathon has been nice to me recently, so hopefully that happens. And because if we end up in the top 4 magically, you know, that it's totally different outlook for this team. But as far as keeping Kyrie, and then I really wish fucking free agency was before the draft, you know, just so we had some idea of like where we would be, how we would be drafting. But outside of that, I just wanted to know what you think about the draft in general, like what you would want to do if we don't move up, like if we get 10.
I'm going to be so there's 2 tracks you could take with this. If they stay at 10, I'm going to freak out because I want them to pick somebody, though I think they're most likely to move it. If they jump into the top 4, I will lose my mind. Okay, there are 6 guys.
Yeah, I mean,
I love so many of these guys, and it's
such a loaded draft.
Depending on how long you follow me, I spent the entirety of 2018. I watched 4 games of Dennis Smith, and I was like, nope, this is not it. And I just started drunkenly, like, I started drunkenly, like, I was drunk a lot that year, to be honest. I tweeting about Luka Doncic, and the tweets are still out there. I may have one. I'm gonna go do the search for it because it's pretty funny. Because I just talked about Luka all the time. And I don't feel quite the same way about this draft as I do that draft, but I like so many of the guys. Like the Thompson twins I've loved them for going over a year. I like this guy at Houston that I've really only paid attention to the last 6 weeks.
Oh, Gerace is my guy, man.
Obviously, Wemby. Obviously,
he's like the
Scoot.
evolution of Chris Webber if he was a Pokemon, you know?
Yes.
I fucking love Jerace Walker. And this draft is so loaded, and my personal opinion, if they go 10, I think the best thing we could do personally is just move down, squeeze out a few assets out of that pick, and draft Derek Lively, the only other center in the fucking first round, you know? And who's shown like a lot of defensive versatility and a lot of defensive upside, and who would obviously be our best center day one.
So on the screen now,
props to you. Yeah.
On the screen now, I have it. It was 9:01 p.m. on October 23rd, 2017. I said, I've had a lot to drink. I would like to make a prediction. If the Mavericks end up with Luka Doncic, Dirk comes back for year 21. And then I just spent like the whole year being yeah, this guy. And it's great. It's great year. Great waste of my life. But that Mavs team was a riot to cover too. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for coming on. You got anything else before I move on to our last guest?
I think that's it. Y'all have a good one. I'm definitely gonna be in here more just because YouTube is a lot easier to get to. So hopefully, hopefully I'm talking more too.
Sure. All right. Talk soon. Appreciate you. Okay. And remember, if you are calling in by phone, if you're listening in, you can still the forward-facing camera on your phone will pick you up. It's good stuff. All right, Calvin, you're the last one, and then I'm gonna eat. I've not eaten dinner. I'm getting crabby. What's going on, Calvin?
Kirk, how are you, man?
I'm all right.
So, it's funny. I listen to you a ton. I usually feel like there's so much negativity going on in the room, and I feel the other way. And man, the last 2.5 weeks have broken me, as I'm sure they've broken many of us.
I'm sorry. It's no fun to it's no fun if you're of a certain mindset. It's no fun to watch a team where it's just they break your spirit. That part sucks.
Yeah, you're just ready for it to be over, man. Right? Now we do need the 10th pick. You want it. You don't want them to win these games. Everyone who's we could still go 2-1 or whatever and all this, and I'm it's over, man. It's been over. This team's incapable of putting together a run. But I wanted to get your take on. I remember Josh Howard, man. I remember Marquise. I'm old. I'm 50, bro. I watched a lot of bad basketball in the 90s with my dad growing up. So,
woo!
But yeah, man. But the everyone's kind of it's not Luka's fault. I love Luka, man. But dude, he's dribbling the ball until there's 8 seconds left in the clock, 13 seconds left in the clock, and we need to change. We need, and whether it's Kid, whether it's Luke, I don't know what it is.
Well,
what we're doing
does
not
to change
work.
The offense when they score like they do. I don't disagree from a visual aesthetic, but the defense is just the no effort from anyone. I mean, tonight was a little better, but it's the defense is just so horrendously broken. I don't understand how it could be this bad. Well, I can't understand. We've seen the players; they stink. But it's amazing that it took Kid up until tonight. This was the first time he's played Wood and McGee together, and he had talked all year about wanting
100.
to play.
Yep.
Yeah, it's what do we do? At least try it. He talks about how the season's trying.
Yeah, and no one can argue the defensive point. And look, I don't mind the offense when it works. It's just it never works late game.
And the late game
before
stuff.
Kyrie, and it's the same plays, right? It's and even against Philly, we played a good game against Philly. But what did Luka do in the last 2 possessions? Kyrie's on the left side of the court, and Luka goes right with the ball both times.
Yeah,
and
there was.
What I mean? Kyrie, it's terrible, and I don't know where it lies, but it's got to change.
So you want to hear a crazy bullshit theory that has just been living in my head the last week and a half?
Yes.
I think the Mavericks have been so bad in clutch time. And I think that's going to turn itself over by manifesting an amazing draft lottery odds where we're going to be in the top 4. Because Luka hasn't hit a game winner this year. Think about that.
Dude, I said that to my stepdad who's in town visiting. I'm in Miami. I went to the game last night, man. I live in Fort Lauderdale. And I was in 06 or 11 when we won the game. I was in the building with my dad, RIP, man.
Oh,
so it was
wow.
awesome. But Dallas boy, though, born and raised. But But anyway, yeah, my stepdad is a diehard fan that's visiting from Dallas right now, and I was like, when was the last time that we hit a game like that? Luka hit a game-winning shot,
He
and
hadn't
I
hit
didn't
one.
realize it had. I didn't realize that, but I certainly knew it had been a long time.
Yeah. And so I like
Yeah.
in my head, I'm like, okay, Luka and all these shots have never gone down because until Maxey hit the 3, they were something like 0-9 in game-winning situations. And now you're not ever going to be 50%, but usually like in situations like that, like Dirk's one of the best all-time percentage-wise, and even he shoots like 33% in it. And the Mavs just haven't hit any. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, we're losing all these close games because we're going to win the lottery. Just fan nonsense, but that's been in my head for a week now.
Well, I hope you're right, man. Was it your show or someone else's show? I listened to a lot of podcasts about the Mavericks. I'm a huge fan. I'm still a Cowboys fan, but when Dirk ascended the mountain, I by far became my favorite team, my favorite player all time.
Sure.
And yeah, somebody was talking about how we've never moved up, right? I remember those days, the 3 J's, man. I was around for that marketing campaign. So I hope you're right, but I don't want any more wins this year, and not for Tankathon is great, whatever. But it's like, dude, we need humiliation. Cuban cannot run it back. We can't. Oh, we lost, but we were in overtime to the Hawks, and we were right there with the Heat. Like,
extremely important point.
Yes, we need
nothing
a reset.
forces
There's
change.
so much wrong right there, and we need a major reset, man. So, thanks, Kurt, man. I love that you stay late and do this thing, and so I appreciate it, bud.
All right. I'm glad you joined. Appreciate you. Talk soon.
Take it easy. All right, man.
The crazy part, Calvin's talking about how he was there in 2011, excuse me. I was at my best friend's bachelor party, and my wife and I didn't have any money, but I was in Miami for game 6, and my wife was like, you should stay and go. I was like, we don't have the money. I can't do this. I'm a moron. I should have gone to the game. Money, I don't want to say you can always make more money, but you can't take money with you when you go. That's for damn sure. I should have gone to the game. I cannot believe I didn't do this. Okay, thanks so much for hanging out. If you've not hit the subscribe button, please go to the channel. As we mentioned earlier, if you want to get notified, once you click subscribe, you need to also go through and hit where it's like the bell for notification, I think is how it works. And that's how we'll bump going live. I might take a couple day break just because I'm tired. I have a special show I'm going to put up that doesn't have ads, but it's something I've been sent from someone who did an interview with Sent Marshall that I thought was at least worth passing along. I'm a little ground out after this weekend. 4 straight live shows is kind of kicking my ass. But I appreciate you hanging out with me. This has been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed this more than I would have thought because, it's just me having to stare at a camera instead of wander around and do chores like I normally do. Everybody be good. Have a better start to your week, and we will talk soon. Go Mavs.